tower defense games have always been my favorite type of game ever. These type of games you found mostly on Roblox. But on Roblox, some tower defense are good, some are okay, but some are, let's just say, not up to standards for some players. But here I want to talk about something that is a core mechanic to these games, but as it always has been. I'm talking about upgrade path in tower defense games. What is an upgrade path? An upgrade path is series of upgrades on a tower that you can choose between top or bottom path. And most of the times, these paths are determined on what usage they have. For example, a top path can be used for main DPS single target DPS, or the bottom path can be used as a splash damage multi-enemy DPS. And in this video, I want to talk about the upgrade path in the Roblox Tower Defense genre, going from Tower Defense Simulator to Tower Defense X. These two games are gonna be the reference games I'm gonna be using to talk about in this video. So without further ado, let's get started on the first point. Tower Defense Simulator is one of the most popular tower defense games as of now. And it was released in 2019, it was heavily inspired by Tower Battles released in 2011, and the same on Roblox. I'm only gonna talk about Tower Defense Simulator here because Tower Battles, as much as is known, is not as popular now than Tower Defense Simulator that almost have 2 billion visits. The upgrade path mechanic in this game is pretty straightforward and easy because, except for one tower, there's only one upgrade path. You upgrade it from level 0 to level 5 or level 6 depending on the tower. So if you look here, you can see that my minigunner only has from level 0 to level 4 and only on one upgrade path. But why only one? Why not two like I explained? Well, because let's just say that one upgrade path, and that's the first point, multiple upgrade path makes for a more difficult game. And here I'm gonna talk about the exact opposite on why having one upgrade path makes the game easier. It makes the game easier in the fact that you do not have to learn each path, what upgrade it does, what does it upgrade. Like, if I go here on Tower Defense Simulator, and if you look at my minigunner, like, oh yeah, it upgrades the damage and it upgrades the fire rates. That's easy. But here, if I go on Tower Defense X, you can see that if I upgrade my Juggernaut to top path, it does pretty good DPS, yes, but if I upgrade on the bottom path, it also has more DPS. But you do not know that until you upgrade it to level 4 on top path, where you can see that, oh, I have bullet resisting ignorance, but on the bottom path you just have more DPS. And on bottom path after that, on level 2-5 for the Juggernaut, you can see that it has stun immunity, but for the top path it doesn't. And this, you kinda have to learn it yourself, which is pretty hard for some new beginner players. And back on Tower Defense Simulator, having only one path makes it easier for players to learn the game and to have fun with it. On Tower Defense X, even though you have a tutorial and it's well explained, let's just say that you have a ton of towers that each have two paths, and it makes a lot to learn. But on Tower Defense Simulator, with only one path, you can already learn about the game itself, like the wave structures, which enemy has what health and what resistances, rather than what path is better against this exact type of enemy. But this is maybe one good argument for the single path upgrade, but the second path upgrade has a very good argument, and which is the second point. Multiple upgrade path makes the game more unique. And this made me wonder, when did the upgrade path mechanic was first introduced on Roblox? And this game mechanic was introduced on Tower Blitz in 2020. This game is not very popular nowadays since the game stopped updating, but as you can see here, it has multiple upgrade paths and it was the first one to release before Tower Defense X, which released in 2023. But I'm gonna go on Tower Defense X because it's more popular now, but Tower Blitz is still a monument in the multiple upgrade path history. So Tower Defense X here. As you can see, multiple towers, almost all of them have 2 upgrade paths, and let's just take, for example, let's take this laser gunner. As you can see, this laser gunner has 2 paths. You can upgrade it either 5 times on the top path or 5 times on the bottom path. So here I decide to upgrade it on the top path. As you can see, it does more damage. And if I upgrade to 4-2 here, you can see that it has an ability, and if I use this ability, as you can see it can stun the enemies when it fires. But if I go on the bottom path here, and I upgrade to 2-4, yes, you can see that it shoots very fast, but the ability is not the same. It unstealth the enemies that are the closest to this laser gunner. So even though you play the same tower, the tower does not have the same mechanic and the same feeling of gameplay depending on the path. And this gameplay can change a lot. If we go back a bit and go back to the winter event on Tower Defense X, which is General Sargar's invasion, you can see that here we play some XWM turrets, which is like a big war machine. But you don't see much top path of it, which has the most DPS and ignores bullet resistance. So why do we not use it? Because the bottom path here has rockets, and rockets mean splash damage. So it means that you can hit multiple enemies at the same time. And hitting multiple enemies at the same time is crucial in this part of the event. As you can see, there is a literal army of predators coming in. The top path XWM turret can mow down a predator no problem, but this much in an instant, that would not work. So using bottom path, you can damage them multiple times on multiple rockets, that brings multiple DPS on each predator. So this adds up that the top path will not do as much DPS as the bottom path since it has the rocket and the splash damage. But was the upgrade path mechanic always popular? Well, if you look here, you can see that Tower Defense Hex has not as many players as Tower Defense Simulator, and it does not have as many visits. So does the single upgrade path more popular? Well, yes, it is. But there is one time in history where the multiple upgrade path has been more popular than the single upgrade path. It was when Tower Blitz was in its prime. I told you that I was not going to talk much about Tower Defense Blitz, but here I have to talk about it. Because in 2020 and 2021, when Tower Defense Simulator had the most dried updates ever, like what I mean by that is that each update was like 8 to 6 months apart, which is way too long for some Roblox players, Tower Blitz seemed as a good alternative because it seems more fun, it has very good quality, and well, upgrade path was something that was very new at the time, so experienced players and beginner players could see what a tower defense game with multiple upgrade paths could bring them. And much players loved this either than the single path upgrade, which is why Tower Defense X now has multiple upgrade paths instead of one. But if you follow correctly, you remember that Tower Defense Simulator was released in 2019, and that Tower Blitz was released in 2021, and Tower Defense X in 2023. So there was a 2-year gap between 2019 and 2021 where the multiple upgrade path mechanic was not in Tower Defense games on Roblox at all. So Tower Defense Simulator showed what the single path upgrade was to the world, and Tower Blitz showed what the multiple path upgrade could do to it. So in conclusion, multiple path upgrades makes a game more difficult, more unique, but some people will still play the single path upgrade games because it is much easier. As of now, the multiple path upgrade mechanics, it still goes strong in Tower Defense X, but most players now look at what unique mechanics Tower can bring, like an FPS mode for some towers on Tower Defense X. So this was all I had to say. I hope you enjoyed it.